Have you ever met someone who stays quiet in a room, yet somehow sees more than everyone else combined? That quiet edge often belongs to an intuitive introvert, a person whose mind works in ways most people never notice. They move through the world with a kind of silent depth, spotting patterns before they form and reading people before they speak. But what actually gives them that unusual perception? How does their inner world shape what they notice? And why do their insights appear so sudden, even when they come from hours of hidden thinking? Those questions drive the journey we are about to take. And once you see how an introspective thinker really processes life, you may never look at quiet people the same way again. Because inside that calm surface is a mind working at full power. The way an intuitive introvert takes in information starts with something most people never consider: the depth of their sensory processing. Their brain does not move fast or loud, it moves deep. Instead of skimming the surface of an experience, their mind slows down and pulls details inward. A change in someone's tone, a shift in the room's energy, a pattern forming in a conversation. They don't hunt for these signs, they absorb them. Research on sensory processing sensitivity shows that some people's nervous systems take in far more data per moment than the average person. Their brain filters less out. That means they don't just notice what's happening, they notice what's underneath what's happening. This sensitivity also understands why they protect their energy so carefully. Loud places, fast talkers, flashing environments, these things hit them harder, faster, and deeper. But the moment the world gets quiet, their mind activates, the noise drops away, and the patterns rise to the surface. This isn't a weakness, it's power. It gives them access to layers of reality most people walk right past, and that deep perception becomes something even sharper when emotions enter the picture. This is where their quiet turns into something almost uncanny. Watch an intuitive introvert at a party. They aren't the first to speak, they're the first to see. A twitch in someone's eyebrow, a smile that slips for half a second, the weight behind a word. These tiny cues carry meaning, and a deep observer catches them long before anyone else does. Their sensitivity doesn't only apply to lights, sounds, or environments. It applies to people. Studies on perceptual sensitivity show that some individuals are biologically wired to notice emotional microsignals that others filter out. For an intuitive introvert, this means they don't just read the room, they read the pulse of it. This is why people often feel understood around them without knowing why. The intuitive introvert can sense when someone is off, even if their face looks calm. They hear the strain under a "I'm fine." They catch the moment a person tries to hide their disappointment or protect their pride. And because they process these signals internally, silently, they don't need someone to explain their feelings. They already saw it happen. But here's the twist. They don't just gather these signals, they turn them into meaning. And that takes us into one of their most powerful traits. If you could step into the mind of an intuitive introvert, you wouldn't see a quiet place. You'd see a world of motion, images, symbols, theories, flashes of connection, all happening behind a calm expression. Their thinking isn't linear, it's layered. A small detail sparks a larger idea. One memory links to an observation. An emotion triggers a concept. And before they say a word, a full picture forms inside them. This is pattern-driven intuition. This is what turns a simple moment into insight. Other people gather data piece by piece. The intuitive introvert gathers meaning as a whole. Their mind works like a lens, pulling separate threads together until the message becomes clear. It's why they understand people's intentions before the person explains them. It's why they can predict how a situation might unfold, after watching only the first few steps. Their symbolic thinking also gives them unusual creativity. They don't just imagine ideas, they feel them forming. They sense the direction before the path exists. It's like their mind is always one step ahead, building connections that seem to appear out of nowhere, but actually come from deep internal processing. This internal world is not loud, chaotic, or scattered. It's focused, rich, and alive. And the more you understand how they think, the more obvious one truth becomes. Their insight isn't an accident. It's built into the way they see everything. Most people think creativity is about brainstorming hard or pushing through a block. But for an intuitive introvert, ideas don't show up on command. They arrive in bursts. A thought that hits out of nowhere. A solution that appears in the middle of a quiet moment. A connection that pulls itself together while they're doing something simple, like walking or washing dishes. This is not randomness. It's the incubation effect at work. Their brain keeps processing even when they've stepped away from the problem. While someone else may strain to think, the intuitive introvert lets the idea rest, and their mind reorganizes the pieces on its own. And when the clutter clears, a new insight rises. That's why they protect their alone time so fiercely. Solitude isn't boredom for them, it's fuel. It gives their mind the space it needs to unlock what's been building beneath the surface. But here's another reason these bursts feel so strong. Their symbolic thinking doesn't just create ideas, it pushes them forward, into the future, into possibilities others haven't considered yet. This is the turning point, because once the insight lands, their mind does something even more interesting. When an intuitive introvert walks into a room, they don't react to what's happening. They react to what's about to happen. Their brain starts building quiet predictions, internal simulations based on every pattern they picked up earlier. A slight change in someone's tone, a small shift in body language, a tension that flickers for a moment. Their mind takes these pieces and runs them through invisible mental models. It can make them slower to speak, but faster to understand. They pause, not because they have nothing to say, but because they are choosing the right thing to say. They're tracking the moment and the meaning at the same time. To others, this looks like caution. Inside, it's a calculation, and that creates a strange effect. Their accuracy is impressive, but their silence can be mistaken for distance, which leads to the final thing people get wrong about them. Silence makes people nervous. When someone talks less, the world tends to fill the gaps with assumptions. Cold, shy, detached. People throw these labels at intuitive introverts without realizing how wrong they are. Their quiet isn't emptiness. Their quiet is processing. They are reading, analyzing, connecting, and decoding. Their mind is working through layers at a speed that doesn't show on their face. But because their insight builds inwardly, people who rely on louder, faster communication miss what's happening. They also hide their depth on purpose. Not out of fear, but because exposing it to the wrong person feels wrong. Their sensitivity pulls them toward real connection, not noise. And when they finally speak, they say something that hits harder than anything that came before. This mismatch between how they operate and how others expect them to operate creates the illusion that they're hard to know. But the truth is simple. They're not distant, they're focused. And once you understand that, you start to see something most people overlook. Their quiet is not a gap, it's a doorway. You can spend years talking in circles, guessing, arguing, explaining, or you can start seeing the world from their perspective, through nuance, through clues, through the quiet spaces most people overlook. Because the intuitive introvert doesn't just look at life, they understand it. And once you notice how they see the world, it's impossible to unsee it.